Good evening. It is Iron Carr. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. In this evening, we asked you for the meditation for you to be aware of God's love surrounding you. There are so many things in this world while you are on the physical plane, which are non-physical in manifestation. There are so many energies you cannot see. The wind, you cannot see the wind, but you can feel the effects of the wind and you can feel it, but you cannot see it. You can even hear it and you know it is there. However, you do not see it. There are many energies. The sun lights the sky and there is sunlight all around you, but you do not see the individual rays of the sun, but you know its presence because you feel warm. And when it goes behind a cloud, when the cloud comes between you and the sun, you feel that the sun is diminished, but it isn't in any way. It is merely the cloud that is interfering in the directness of the sunlight. Your life is like that in many ways. Just as the sun is always there, good is there in every situation in your life. Many times you cannot see it. You're not aware of it. It is only because there are other things which are obscuring your visions. Your vision may be obscured by your feelings, your emotions, your reactions to whatever is happening around you. Now, reactions are normal. And just as you have many reactions that you have no control over, such as if you touch something that's very hot, you jerk your hand back quickly, or something that you cut yourself, a sudden bit of pain causes you to jerk back, to react. Well, that is what happens many times with what's going on around you. You are reacting to whatever is happening. It's not logical. It's not thought out, but it happens and it is powerful. But it is your reaction. So you have control of it in the end, in the long run. It will happen automatically, but after a moment, it is yours to control. You can make the decision that something you may have withdrawn from very quickly or gotten angry at was not something that you really needed to get angry at. For your anger was a reaction to your own interpretation of what someone said. Now, that person may have meant something hostile toward you, or they may not. And it is up to you to decide how you will act about this. Notice I use the term act, not react. The reaction is involuntary. It is not with your thought, but your thought has the control to decide how you will respond to any situation that is going on around you. You can continue to be angry if you want to. You can personalize the situation and say, this person was hostile to me. This person was trying to injure me in some way. And you can get angry and you can be defensive. It's up to you. However, you can also stop and say, I wonder what's causing them to have a bad day today. Why are they acting like this? Something must be wrong with them. Maybe something is wrong with them. Maybe they were not brought up properly. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they didn't mean anything by it. It's just a misunderstanding on your part. How do you want to react? Well, I would suggest to you that you react in the way that makes you feel the best, that you choose to find the solution or the thought that leaves you not in pain, not in anger, not frustrated, but in a neutral state where you are perhaps wondering what is going on, not making any judgments, not taking any actions, just pausing a moment. There are people who will give you techniques and say, count to 3 before you say anything in such a situation. Why do they say that? It is because then you have 3 seconds, perhaps, or 3 moments, if you're counting quickly, in which you can reevaluate and make a decision on how you will act in this situation. And so you can you can choose then what you are creating instead of dealing with whatever you have already created because you reacted without thought. And maybe your reaction would have been totally inappropriate and not the right one at all. And now you have compounded a situation because you have taken offense that something was not intended, that you misunderstood, and the other person did not intend. You can always ask for clarification. What did you mean by that? And see what comes out of it. For as they explain, it may become clear that they did not intend anything nasty or untoward toward yourself, that everything is fine and good. You just misunderstood. The power within your own mind to create happiness is there. By the simple determination, by that simple thought, I am happy, you feel better. It can refresh your consciousness, refresh your countenance. Try smiling. They tell you that it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. Be lazy, smile. And when you smile, you feel better because it has been shown that that happens. When you think clear thoughts or good thoughts, when you decide to be happy in situations, when you say, I am happy that this happened, I am happy for this moment in time. It is a beautiful day. I just saw something pretty. I saw something beautiful. I saw an action from 2 people who obviously love one another. And this can make you feel good. Or maybe it'll make you feel jealous. Now, what kind of a thought would you rather do? Would you rather be unhappy and jealous? Or would you rather be happy for someone else? If you think of it just a moment, you know you'd rather be happy for someone else. The feeling of jealousy is a feeling of unhappiness. It's a feeling of being deprived. But yet what other people have may not even be what you want. Not really. If it was something you really wanted, you might have already manifested it in your life. Because they seem to be happy with it, though, perhaps that stirs your jealousy, that you would like the same, but you're not wanting the things other people have. You're wanting what you think they have. And that is happiness at the possession of that thing. That they seem to be happy in their life. To smile, to act like you're happy, is to eventually convince yourself that you are happy. It starts you on that message and on that way, that you are happy. When you can find joy and happiness in all the good that happens to others, you can experience joy and happiness in your own life. You can recognize that which is good, and you can think, I am happy because I have this. I am happy because I am this. I am happy because I don't have this. For there are always things that we do not want waiting out there for us. We don't want to be ill. We don't want to have accidents. And you can be very happy that you are not ill. that you have driven someplace successfully, that you can walk without having accidents. There are so many good things in your life. All it takes is for you to determine that these things are good for you. And as a result, they make your life happy. So be the creator of your life. You have the infinite power to create through your actions, by avoiding many times your reactions. Sometimes your reactions are great. You just laugh uproariously at something you find funny and it lifts your spirit. Yes, when you are unhappy, you can always find something to lift your spirit. Make it a deliberate act. Watch a funny video. Go to YouTube and watch some kittens or some puppies play around. You can't help but laugh at the funny things that happen to them by accident. And you know, we are all puppies on the earth plane. We are puppies and kitty cats, and in our own way, things happen to us mysteriously, but we have to deal with them. And we can get up and just try and do it again. If something goes wrong, it doesn't have to defeat you, for you are a person of infinite power. And I would like you to remember that in every day, that you have the power to create happiness in your life through your words, through your thoughts, through your actions, through your perceptions. And so I give you my blessing in this evening that you should learn, that you should know how to create happiness in your life. And now, if there are any other questions on either what I have spoken in this evening or any other subject, I will welcome them and attempt to answer them fully for you.
I have a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, this is a great topic. It's there's another aspect to this, which is training oneself.
Which is what?
Training oneself. The mind.
Training
Yes,
oneself?
yes. The mind can be unruly if left unchecked, if it's left to wander on its own. But if you adopt the discipline of finding something good as much as you can, aggressively doing so, you retrain your mind and you retrain your thoughts and you retrain the mind itself to behave, to look for good. And therefore you avoid a lot of stuff that you had before, perhaps. I just thought I'd pop that out because I'm practicing that myself, but I'm also reading about that and just you're saying that we are truly unlimited in our own power, which is true. We're the only people that can decide what we think about at any point in time. So we can change the course of our history at any time.
That is true. I hope everyone was able to hear his comments. They were excellent comments. Was everyone able to hear him?
Yes.
Some nodding? Yes, good.
Yes,
Good.
perfectly. They were excellent comments. Excellent. Ramkar, I wanted to ask you, before you come in and you do the channeling, she channels you. Norma asks for healers to come into each of our lives to help us with this evening. And I think that's so profound and important because, when we don't have you on Zoom and we're alone, it seems a little more difficult to summon up all the courage or the understanding of how powerful each of us are. But when we have Norma saying she's bringing in healers and you're going to come and you give us that wonderful kind of, speech about choosing happiness and how powerful we are. And it's just a matter of our own perspective. Is it that easy for each of us to pull our healers in? Are they waiting for us? Do they just need us to say, please come now?
Oh, well, yes, you always have an assortment of guides who are there to help you.
Mhm.
Different churches say there are different numbers, but think of 3 or 4 of your own, and one is referred to as the joy guide, and that is what Rana does. She is an all-purpose helper that stays with you. And so this is a person that has, before you incarnated, who has agreed to be of assistance to you during your incarnation. And so unless you decide to go to the dark side, so to speak, and do things that are not good in an active way, your guides are generally there to help you. Now you have your joy guide. She's all purpose. She's good for, usually she, but sometimes they usually show themselves and as children, mostly girls, but sometimes little boys, and they will help you find things. To just kind of all purpose messenger type, go first, if you will. And there is the doctor of philosophy who will help you with business and love and relationships. And then there is a medical doctor who is with you at all times to try to work with you for bringing about your good health, prompting you to eat properly or to exercise. That little voice that says, you should. If you have one of those, perhaps yours is taking a nap. But generally, people know that there are good things they should be doing for themselves to ensure their good health. And as for healers, well, many of you have a protector who takes the form of a powerful person, often shows himself as an American Indian or perhaps a strong African. It depends upon whatever he wants, generally a he, and they are there to protect you. Now, you can ask for healing at any time. Healing, you know, flows through you. It is always available. We can have a nice lecture, if you wish, on the fact that you are all part of God and that this whole universe has been created by God. In the beginning, there was nothing but God. God was the only thing there was. And he manifested this whole creation. It was his idea. And he brought it forth from the substance of his own being, in his own mind, in his own intellect. And if you think of how big the creation is, that is an immense, it is overwhelming thought at times to think how much there is in this creation and to realize that it is all part of an aspect of God. If you can accept that, that is a good starting point.
Okay.
And then if you can understand and realize that everything is the creation, is made up of God and God's stuff, if you wish, that you are part of this creation. And what does that say about you? That you are made up of God's stuff, that there is God, and you are part of God because you were his idea manifesting. He brought all the conditions into order to bring your manifestation about, as well as everyone else who is on this Zoom meeting, that everything. It's just an amazing thought. But there you are. You have been created by design, by God, to be exactly what you are. And if you can realize that, and you realize that you are made of God, what separates you from God? That's what I would ask you. Nothing separates you from God. God is part of you. You are part of God. God is part of me, and I am part of God. We all are part of God. God is made up of us. So if you can recognize this, you have all the powers that God has. And I always think the most important power of God is the power to create. And you on the physical plane have the power to create. And that was in discussion this evening. Well, you do create the life you experience. When you step outside your door or you wake up in the morning and you look out the window, you decide, is it a good day? Is it a bad day? Is it a beautiful day? Is the day too hot? You can make any judgment you wish. Is it not? Is it too cloudy? Is there too much rain? Is there not enough rain? There are a million perceptions concerning how the world around you is. And which one do you choose to embrace? For that determines what your day is like. And if you wake up and you say, it's a beautiful day and it's going to be a beautiful day for me, that determines what kind of day you experience. And if you can smile, as been suggested, that also lights up your day. So you can go to your bathroom and you can brush your teeth and you can look in the mirror and you can say, I look terrible. What am I going to do about myself today? Or you can say, oh, you beautiful creature, you, or you handsome creature, you. How great you are today. Look how wonderful you look. You can make that decision. You can think good things and feel better, or you can think sour things and not feel good. It is up to you. Every moment in your day, you are busy creating your life. You make all the decisions that you want to make. You take all the actions that you want to take. And these decisions, these actions, these create what you experience in that day and what you experience in your life. For sometimes the decision you make today, you'll find its rewards are somewhere in the future, or its consequences are also somewhere in the future. Either way, they're both consequences, whether you call them rewards or consequences. They are the results of the decisions and the actions that you make and that you take. So you are the most hands-on creator of your own life. And it is you who determines what your life is like. You have all read stories. You have all made the acquaintance of people who have had the most terrible things happen to them, and yet they were successful. And some of these people became phenomenally successful. You think of the authoress who wrote the Harry Potter books. She was practically homeless, or she may have been homeless. She would order a cup of coffee or go to the library and sit there with a pen and pencil and write and write and write, a pad, a pencil, and she would write. She had nothing. She was very poor, but she had an imagination and a desire, and so she wrote. And she was successful in creating, transforming her life from one of poverty to extreme opulence, wealth beyond imagination for most of us who live ordinary lives, such as everyone on this call. And so anything is possible if you keep at your decision and you work on it and you know what you want, you'll bring it about. For you have tremendous powers of creation in your life. So there is not much more that I can say. But if you are part of God and you acknowledge the fact that you are creator like God, and you have many of the qualities of God in your life. You have the power not only to create, to think clearly, to decide, make decisions. You can create, and you can heal. You can heal yourself, or you may not be able to heal yourself, but your body does miraculous things about healing itself. Most illnesses that you have encountered in your life, you have healed yourself. You may have had some help through antibiotics. You may have had some help from your doctors in giving you herbs and things to eat or to take, treatments, but it was really your body healing itself. So you are in control of your own healing, and you are the one who heals your mind when you are thinking things that are not helpful to you. You have that choice in every day. Why would you choose to have a thought and take that thought with you and carry it around with you if it's a thought that makes you unhappy? That you think about some remark someone says. What is the expression? People use it. They're living in your head, or yes, someone else is living in your head. They forgot they even said, they forgot they did it, but you're keeping them alive and thinking about it, and you're making yourself unhappy. You could change that easily by just letting go of that, saying, I'm not going to think about them anymore. I'm not going to think about what they said. I'm not going to think about what they did. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm going to go on with the rest of my life. And I'm going to start right now and force your mind to think of something else. And because minds are rather recalcitrant and they don't always stay thinking about what you want to think about, it may take power and go back to the unhappy thought. And it is then up to you to say, no, I'm not thinking about that. I'm going to think about this, and change your thought again. Eventually, your mind gives up. You're stronger than your mind, and your determination can do whatever you want it to do. You need to find out a solution. Remember, you are part of God, and God has within himself. He is the almighty infinite intelligence. And that's part of you, because you're part of God. And God is with you, and the intelligence of God is in you. Just set your mind to finding the solution. How can I do this? How can I make this happen? How can I stop thinking of this? How can I stop feeling bad about something? When you ask yourself that question, you will come up with the answer that you need to heal yourself, because you have that ability, and your mind is capable of giving you the answers that you want and you seek, because you are all part of God. Is not that a wonderful thought, to know that you are part of God in all ways? And if you wish to embrace that thought, just know that God's actions, God is acting through you. God's actions can be your actions, or your actions are God's actions. Your thoughts are God's thoughts. Everything, God acts through you. You are his implement in this creation. And you create the life that you live. So know that you have that power. Think about that in every day, that you are part of God and God acts through you. Everything that happens in your life is okay. And it is part of destiny. It is part of the way things need to be. And if you are happy and you embrace things as being happy, then you will be happy. It's as simple as that. As soon as you decide to be happy, you can be happy. You can redirect your thoughts somewhere. So yes, you started out to bring about the healers that Juana brings to you in every session that we have together. She merely asks them to step up, and they step up to be with each one of you. You can ask for a healer to be with you. You can ask for your mind to be guided by God's intelligence. You can ask that God guides you in the actions that you need to take. If it's a thorny, difficult situation that has to be handled perfectly, ask for guidance from Spirit, from one of your helpers. Simply ask them. You do not have to know a name. You can just think, dear angelic helper. After all, what is a guardian angel? But it is a guide, a helper. Dear guardian angel, dear guide, dear helper, help me to find a solution. Help me find and see what I need to see, and to know what I need to know, so that I can say the right words and take the right actions in this situation to bring about the best resolution for myself and for everyone involved. And that can bring you exactly what you want and need. So I hope that has been of some help. It is my favorite subject, though. Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much. Wonderful help. Thank you.
Are there other questions? I see Janet just came in.
Hello.
Hello, welcome, Janet. Do you have any questions? You were not here, so
Not right now, I don't. Thank you.
you're welcome. Please, if there's any.
I'll ask a brief one, if you don't mind. Kind of along the lines that Bob was talking about, disciplining your mind.
Yes.
And choosing also, to do with what you've been talking about. I've been trying to train my mind to not take offense from people when they appear to be attacking. And with one person who for probably 20 years has been, not nice to me and attacking at times, making demands, I've been trying to actually pray for that person, say in my mind, God bless you. And the situation does not appear to be turning around. However, when I did that just in the last 2 weeks with a coworker, I was surprised how quickly the situation turned around, and so happy that it did. And I really like this person. She's just been under a lot of pressure, I think, is why what happened, but I didn't react. And so I'm just kind of wondering why certain situations or relationships take a long time, if they're even going to change at all, whereas others can happen really quickly.
Yes, well, think about that person that's been, I will use the term offensive to you for 20 years or longer. Now, 20 years ago, you were not working about making changes by thinking good thoughts and sending love to that person and hoping things would be well for them and wishing them well. And as a result, you have a long-standing relationship which did not improve. And when you now, and I know that you have been working on this relationship for quite a while now, trying your best to not react and not take offense from the things that the person says, that you are now asking the questions, why doesn't it change? Well, I think the old habits still went on much longer than you've been applying the new habits and the new discipline. So if you look at it as a balancing act, Unfortunately, the balance is still running on the other side, and you haven't piled enough of your own good wishes onto the other side of the teeter-totter. Do you understand? If you look at like a seesaw, there have been, you took offense or you were hurt or upset by this person. They always seemed hostile to you. And so in the beginning, you reacted in ways that were not as you would do them now. And if you think of each one of them as being a stone or a rock put on that side of the teeter-totter, and now you're trying to counteract all those years before you came to this new realization. So new situations can be counteracted much more quickly than old situations, which were allowed to build up over time. So that's one of the reasons why it takes longer. You have to keep putting your own good happiness, forgiving, loving stones on the side of the teeter-totter before you're going to counterbalance that bad side, so to speak. Now, is this person someone that you can stop seeing? Is it a family member which you must interact with? Or are there ways for you to avoid this person more fully? You do not have to answer at the moment if you do not choose to. But this is what you should need, I suggest that you might do, is simply avoid this person as much as possible. Now, if this is a person who is your boss or someone in authority at the place that you work, or a family member that you can't possibly avoid, you simply try to limit as much as you can the interactions. And you have already realized that, as you had said, with the person that you turned it around with very quickly, that maybe she was just having a bad day or something upset her. And so immediately you reframed the situation. It was not normal, you said, for her to, in your mind, this was your decision, I believe, that your thought was, this is not normal for this person. Even if it wasn't your first thought, it was what followed up after that. After you sent her some love, after you sent her forgiveness, after you wished her well, you also gave her an out, so to speak. And that's hard to do for someone who you have been interacting with for 20 years. It's hard to give them an out after 20 years of hostility, so to speak. So I would just suggest that you try to limit your interactions with this person, have them as few as possible. And in the meantime, while you are not interacting with her, continue to send her loving and forgiving thoughts, and wish that her life, if it is her or him, that this person's life much improves and their mannerisms, that they become much happier. And this is what you want for them, because then they will stop being so obnoxious once they are happy in their own way. So you can work on that when you are not with them and try to be not with them. That is my suggestion. So to answer your question, old habits are hard to break. You are familiar with that. They're harder to break than new situations. And as a result, you have an old habit that is long-standing with that person, and it's much harder to overcome. Your own ways of looking at what she says and does. And maybe she is deliberately being mean to you for some unknown reason. Whatever that is making her acutely unhappy, that she is trying to take something out on you for which you cannot help her in any way, shape, or form. So therefore, it's a lot, it doesn't make her feel better. Not really, because she continues to be nasty. So she is not a happy soul. So therefore, you can only continue to wish her well and interact with her as little as possible. And as you continue to wish her well, it is possible that eventually You will have overcome this in such a way that when she says or does something that is nasty, so to speak, then your immediate thought is one of, oh, she's still miserable. I feel so sorry for her, and disappear or walk away. Don't take offense. And eventually, it just will cease to bother you. But she may still have her same problem that causes her to act like that, in which case you can send her a little bit of pity that she has to endure these hateful emotions that she generates herself, making herself unhappy. And you're just not going to let her make you unhappy any longer. That is all I can say. And when you employing the techniques that you are working on now, of course, these are excellent ways to deal with all new people. And people will soon see you in such a loving way that they would not dream of acting badly toward you, because they like to be loved. And since your attitude is one of love, it will overcome other people's attitude. So just know that your technique is being honed, and you are becoming better and better at it. And you are being more loving in every day. And as a result, you will find love is returning to you more and more, and your life is only improving. Are there other questions?
I try not to put too many human conditions on God and the creator, but I wonder, does he ever become disappointed in the creation when you see the way we act as human beings and we treat one another, and the terrible things that seem to be nonstop every day now? It seems to me, what would he even need us for? Why did he even create us? It seems like we're disappointing him all the time. It just boggles my mind sometimes to think that he still wants us and keeps us in the creation going.
Yes, well, obviously he does, because the creation keeps going. And think of yourself as a parent. Your child did not do everything that you wanted him to do. And he did not behave always as you wanted him to behave. But at no point did you stop loving him. You may have been disappointed in his behavior, but there was nothing you could do about it, and you could only let him be and let him do whatever he was doing, and hope that he would come around to creating a better life for himself than he was doing through his actions. Every parent has been through this with their children. Children, well, the majority of children find at some point in time the absolute need to separate themselves from their parents. And by rejecting the things that their parents have told them to do and the ways they should behave, and perhaps acting in totally different ways, in wild ways, in ways that they jeopardize their own well-being, and their own lives and their own future happiness even. This happens. But it is the rare parent that totally rejects the child and does not hope that their life will not turn around, and hope that they will become successful and happy, and hope for a relationship in the future in which there will be happiness and love shared again, as it was when they were infants and babies. These are things that are natural. So if you look at that and attribute that to God, perhaps that will relieve you of the worry that he is becoming disappointed in us. He may have disappointment, but it is not his desire to do away with his creation at this point in time. And perhaps the media, the television, the radio, books, magazines have chosen to trumpet loudly situations in which there was great disharmony. But on most people's day-to-day lives, they are not acting in such ways. Do you understand? So that you are getting a distorted view of this creation as it is presented by the media, which you can, if you wish, you can question the motives, if there are motives there. Is the media trying to foment some difficulties? Are they trying to manipulate other people's feelings? It is possible. You can see that very often in the way words are written and things are phrased, so as to be deceptive and or manipulative. You have all had that ability in your lives to notice manipulation that has been directed at yourself, particularly as you grew older. Many parents try to manipulate their children rather than just advising them and guiding them. They try to manipulate the thoughts and ideas they want their children to have instead of presenting them and allowing the truth or their good sense to win out. All these things are true about the media and the public. The words that come out of Washington and our governments, these frequently are meant to bring about a certain result rather than to be honest, just honest communications. So recognize that and do not let that aspect of human behavior make you think that that is the majority of people thinking and acting, and that this is going on in everyone's life. It is made to seem so and seem entirely important, but is not. It is not how it is. Are there other questions? Well, no one is speaking up. That usually means it's getting to be time for me to end the evening. We have time for another question or two. Well then, I thank you for coming in this evening. I hope you have enjoyed the discussions that we have had and the things that I have tried to bring to your attention. And I give you many blessings. I give you my blessings. Good night. Hi, I'm back. Okay, how is everybody? Everybody good? Are we ready to say good night? Well, nobody's saying anything, so that means I'm going to say good night. Remember, I love you all. Good night.
Good night. Love you.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, thank you.
All right, everybody. We ended a bit early. I don't know exactly what time it is, even though I'm wearing my glasses. So about 8:45, it's close enough.
Yeah.
And, you see, my husband has just come into the room. He's a mysterious arm that
Yes.
hands that come in. And let's see. Yes, I will be here again next week.
Good.
On Tuesday as usual. So I will see you then.
Thank you so much.